What you're hearing was the reuniting of Heart at the 2013 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony.
We may still have time, we might still get by. Every time I think about it, I want to cry. With bombs and the devil, and the kids keep coming. No way to breathe easy, no time to be yours.
All right, Steve Fossen and Mike DeRozier are there. Roger Fisher, Howard Leese, and Ann and Nancy, as the band was recognized for their incredible success and string of albums, and everybody, and it was a coming together. It was an amazing experience. If you know the whole story of Heart, well, you may be the only one, because I'm still figuring stuff out. But I read Ann's book, and I've gotten to know the guys who were nice enough to invite me with Summer to jump on stage with them at the Triple Door. No, it was actually at Tulalip, and then the Triple Door, like several months ago. And I'll tell you what happened. They knew that I played Magic Man with the Impalers, I think. By the way, I'll interview you too, by the way, but I have to talk. and they said, and Steve called me and just said, hey, would you like to, because he speaks softly, would you like to jump on stage and play Magic Man? I said, yeah. And so I went, and then I learned another song alone, and then I jumped up because I didn't want to get off the stage and played piano in the end on Rock and Roll for the encore. Anyway, I was thinking, I wonder if I sucked bad enough that that's going to be a one-time thing. And Steve said, well, you can come and play with us again. I said, when are you playing? And what happened is, it's like a girl that you meet who never goes away, and then you marry her. I just kept coming back. So eventually they, I guess you couldn't get rid of me, right?
We wanted you.
It's hard for me to imagine. But anyway, they invited me to join the band, and around the same time they brought in Lizzie Damont, who's just an amazing talent, who plays in several bands in the area, Sway and Pretty Enemy, and you've seen her at Tulalip and a bunch of other stages. Lizzie, let me bring up your mic. Say hi.
Hello. Hi.
And at the time when we would play, it was like Summer was this. I mean, Summer, you do sound a lot like Ann, but you're also yourself. But you also kind of look a little like her at the same time.
I'm glad I'm paying you well to say this stuff.
Well, you do, but and you've had people think you're Ann, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Like come up to you and go, "Wow, you look so young."
I know.
What?
Or aren't you related? You have to be her daughter
your sister
or her
or daughter,
cousin.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet Ann wishes she had a daughter that could go on and do that. Maybe, I don't know. So we started all playing together, and then and Randy Hansen's in the band. Randy, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
And Randy is a guitar player I've admired for many, many years.
Thank you.
He is literally the embodiment of one other great Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member from Seattle, Jimi Hendrix. And I don't know how you do, Jimmy. You sort of channel him and are able to play perhaps more like him than anyone else in the world.
Yeah, I got into voodoo as a young child.
Is that it? Is it a voodoo child thing? Oh, no, that's a joke. That was a joke. I should have seen that. Wow. All right. And Andy Baldwin also on guitar. Andy was with Rail and still plays with Rail when they get together. And I got to meet Andy. And he, by the way, was my mentor because he used to jump back and forth between keyboards, and he started teaching me more of the songs. I really thought I was a stalker, actually. I was stalking this band. Yeah. Did you? And then it was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that Andy said, well, you could play with the band more. And I was like, oh, dude, I don't want to get in your way with the keyboard. And he was like, no, it's okay. I hate the stupid keyboard. I want to play guitar.
It's a good thing he said that because you were about to boil his rabbit.
So, but one interesting thing about Andy that you should know, Rail really was on the cusp. Huge, huge regional success story in the Pacific Northwest. Many of you know that if you're natives. I wasn't. But they toured and opened for Van Halen for a long time.
Long time.
Right? And I I imagine there are a million stories about that.
There are a few, and probably can't say very many of them.
Oh, that good.
Well, it's Van Halen. Come on.
Yeah, all right.
In the 80s.
So one of the things he told me yesterday at Silverdale Whaling Days, which was great, is that you remember, what's the one legend you always think of with Van Halen?
The brown M&M.
The brown
First
M&M.
thing I think of.
And what was it? That Van Halen would not perform unless in their rider backstage were M&Ms, but
Somebody had to pick out all the brown ones. They
Brown
didn't want to
ones-
see a brown M&M.
had to be removed.
That's what Andy did.
And that was
no.
if you go to Rail's dressing room, you would find a big jar of
That's
brown M&Ms.
exactly right. And
Rail at backstage in their dressing room had a big bowl of brown
Brown
M&Ms.
M&Ms.
And M&Ms.
Took me a few shows to put that together, but Joe, you know one thing I never put together? That somebody handpicked every one of those out, and
Oh,
we
my
were eating
God.
those suckers every night. Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate that.
Guy who really loved doing
Wow.
it too. So you know,
They always tasted different for some reason. You know?
All right, I got
Salty.
I always heard that
M&M.
I always heard that Van Halen did that so that they could tell that the rider had been read by the
correctly.
promoter.
And wasn't the rumor also that if there was any brown M&M in there, they trashed the dressing?
That's true.
That's right.
Andy knows that for a fact.
I do. There was one show that happened. It's crazy.
Randy Hansen, who of course has toured the world with his Jimi Hendrix tribute, Randy one time was rumored to have died. And it took over the media. Do you remember this, Joe?
No, I don't. When was that? Recently?
No, it was about.
It's every 2 weeks, actually, it happened.
I would not like that news.
This
I'm
morning.
a big fan of
Every
Randy.
Monday.
at about 10:15.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
Let me just Google that real quick.
When did
and I'll
that
tell
happen?
you.
It happened, I think, about 15 years ago. I think there was a guy I lived in White Center, and there was another guy named Randy Hansen that lived in White Center, and he had died. And I don't know how word got out about that, but what eventually happened was, this is what's weird. The most weird thing about
Well,
it.
if I
was-
see an obituary, Randy Hansen of White Center has died, and you live in White Center.
Yeah, my mother heard it, my sisters heard it,
Oh.
and everything. They all called me, "Are you all right?" And I go, "Yeah."
Well, if they're calling you when you answer the phone, what does that mean?
I died.
Is it true?
I'm talking from the other side. But anyway, the weird thing that happened is years later, I played the Isle of Fehmarn, which was Jimmy's last gig, and I came back here to Seattle. I had a meeting with this Japanese lady who wanted to bring us to Japan. And she goes, "Hey, I hear Jimi Hendrix is buried here in Seattle. Could you take me up there?" I said, "Okay, I'll take you up to his grave." So we went up there, and her and I get out of the car, and we go up to the grave, and there's two guys standing there, young guys. And they go, "Nice day." And we kind of start a conversation with them, and they look over at me, and they go, "You look like a musician." I go, "Yeah, I am a musician." And they go, "Well, did you know Jimmy?" And I go, "No, I didn't know Jimmy, but I knew his dad, Al, who was buried right next to him at the time." It was just right after Al had died. And they go, "Well, what's your name? Maybe we heard of you." And I go, "Randy Hansen." And the guy goes, "That's my father's name." I go, "Wait a minute." He goes, "He died about 1.5 years ago." And I go, "Did he live in White Center?"
Oh, no.
And he says, "Yeah." And I go, "Wow."
What are the odds of
I
that?
said, "Wow, this is strange." And it was September the 18th that this all went down, the day Jimmy died.
So on the day Jimmy died,
I'm up
you
at his
met
grave.
the son of the guy named after you who died
Started
and
the
created the
rumor.
rumors of your death.
Right. And I go, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I live right across the street." So I thought, wow, that was strange, So I didn't know what to
That
make
makes
of
it.
that.
Well, that's a higher power right there, making that happen.
That doesn't happen by accident.
No, that's not.
As I
That's
said
Jimmy.
this
That's
time-
Jimmy saying, "Hey, thank you, my
Yeah.
man, for keeping my guitar alive."
Yeah, or knock it off.
Either way. All right. Hey, we're cutting into Jody's show. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the last word. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Heart by Heart, recorded live at Bob's Garage. And you guys can judge for yourself. See how cool the band sounds. I know that we had a lot of fun doing it, and We hope you enjoy it, and come and see us at the Triple Door. And remember, if you're my Facebook friend, or if you're Facebook friends with any of the members of the band, we'll give you a secret password for a special surprise gift.